Good morning. Welcome to Hindu Newspaper Analysis 28 November 2022. China anti-lockdown protest spreads to dozens of campuses. It is recorded that China's National Health Commission announced nearly 40,000 cases reported till yesterday. That's the reason China imposing several restrictions. However, people are protesting against the restrictions and pro-democratic protest, demand for democracy, demand for freedom of expression, speech, rule of law, now rising in China. In Sanghua University in Beijing, same time in Changyang district of China, several protests are recorded against the restrictions and demand for the pro-democratic rule. Let us wait and watch for the next developments. Next article, Muslim homes make goods for Sabrimala pilgrims. It is interesting that this kind of articles could be useful in writing answers, valuable case studies or examples to promote coexistence, tolerance, and also talking about religious diversity in India. Next article, Vokalinga's leaders set Jan 23rd deadline for rising quota. A couple of years back, Vokalinga community in Karnataka demanded reservations and they got reservations up to 4%. Now they are demanding increasing from 4 to 12%. It is well known fact that reservations or special provisions comes under affirmative actions which are created to help the least advantaged people. They are based on the principle that to correct the historical injustices, they brought the special provisions. Article 15, Clause 3, 4, 16, 4, 5 and even recent amendment, 103 Amendment 2019 talks about 15.6 and 16.6. However, I am not going to explain deep about the reservations, but I'm here explaining that the demand for reservations right now rise in several states. Couple of years back, Jats from Haryana, Marathas from Maharashtra, even they got the law, but it was struck down by Supreme Court of India. Then Kapus from Andhra Pradesh. All are demanding reservations in their education and even employment. What is unfortunate is the major reason for this demand for reservation can be drawn from the failure of agriculture or less growth in agriculture sector. As per some social research, it was mentioned that as people are unable to gain remunerative profits from the agriculture, they are looking for the other alternatives. Government of India has to strengthen the local education, skilling, employment opportunities, credit availability for the business, and hand-holding supporting for the startups, not only from the policy level point of view, even from the market challenges also, they need a lot. Points can be remembered for our GS2. Next article, Shift Unexplained. This article highlights a serious problem in Indian judiciary, like transfer of judges. Article 222 talks about transfer of judges from High Court to one High Court to another High Court, and this transfer should takes place with the consultation of CJI by the President. In other words, President is the person who can transfer the judges, but he has to consult the CJI. And this is very important to remember that the transfer judges should have compulsory allowances, and the possibility of transfer can be 1/3 of the strength of the High Court. But what is the issues in transfer of judges? There are several challenges here. One, recently CJ of Madras High Court, Sanjeev Banerjee was transferred to High Court, some other High Court, Meghalaya High Court, and he raised his concerns. Couple of months back, even Madras senior most judge Tahlir Mani resigned from the position as she was supposed to transfer to some other High Court. So the two issues here, that is Sanjeev Banerjee and even Tahlir Mani, rising concerns over transfer of judges without the consent of High Court judges. Here, sometimes they are comes under as a punishment. They will transfer to some other areas. Then the second issue is whenever they are investigating matters regarding government or anti-government issues, they are subject for transfers. Similarly, when they are investigating any criminal cases against the politicians, then also they face the transfers. And most recently, even change in governments also transferring the judges. And the unfortunate thing is this transfer severely affecting the independency of High Court, because High Courts doesn't have a say or a word in transfers. Further, there is no consent of the transferred judge. Here, what is important is the local political issues playing an important role in transfer of judges. So all are quite important to understand. Then why we need transfers? Supreme Court in SP Gupta case observed that transfers can promote integration and better administration. Apart from that, it will also avoid the local attachment of judges. At the same time, it can also avoid feelings like regionalism and also caste, creed, so on and so forth. What are the major observations of Supreme Court in transfer of judges? Supreme Court in Sakal Chand Himat Lal Seth versus Union of India mentioned that consent is not necessary, because consent means it's a private interest. Judges will be transferred based on the public interest. So it is a duty to follow the orders of the Supreme Court and the President. And CJI can ascertain more facts about the transfers. Then later, the transfer of judges observed in different cases, however, it remains same, and they gave some extra guidelines which are not too much important for us. But what is the need or way forward? The need is we need to go for new memorandum of proceedings, should have consensus here. Justice P.M. Bhagavati observed in one of the judgment, that is in Sakal Chand Himat Lal Seth judgment, Justice P.M. Bhagavati observed that judges are constitutional officers, but transfers by executive is seriously violation of separation of power and even dangerous to the threat to the independence of the judiciary. Further, he said that without consent undermines the independency of High Court. Further, transparency should be read as a consensual transfer as per P.M. Bhagavati. And Supreme Court in another case observed that it is when judges are taking the oath, they are willing to join and willing to do the duties as a High Court judge. As they are willingly taking the office, they should willingly transfer to the other High Court. So consent should be the mandatory here. And there is a substantial change in the judicial system after the second judge's case and third judge's case. Now CJI is not alone to take decisions. Collegium is there to take the major decisions about the appointments. So it need to be revived as per the collegium requirements. Next, frequent transfers may affect the judicial proceedings, because local laws, local rules are different from different states. So we need to take care about this aspect also. Finally, one is important. Justice P.N. Bhagavati observed that there may be all India cadre of High Court judges, so that can help in tackling this kind of issues. Can be useful in answer writing and very important article for our understanding. Next, Z Congress rhetoric powers, the PLA's march ahead. China recently improved its military strength. Others highlighted about recent developments in Chinese military strength. It can be a rise in numbers. Apart from that, strengthening the new advanced weaponry like artificial intelligence based space and also cyberspace strength. For example, China now leading a separate force called as a strategic support force, who are experts in cyber and space. China even recruiting not only from the physical strength people who are having physical strength and who are having the dareness or courageousness to fight in the wars, Apart from that, China also recruiting engineers, advanced communication experts, internet and drone operators. It also improved a lot in naval aerial statistics, and finally China even expanding its military bases from Djibouti, Kenya and Gulf countries, and even to the oceanic island called as Solomon Islands, so on and so forth. Now China even giving signals to the USA against its bases. China also expanding into new areas. What is India's stand? India has a long way to go. India need to upgrade its technology infrastructure, and particularly in the sophistication of army ammunitions and army skills. India need to go a lot. Next article. It's time to discuss depopulation. This article highlights very few facts, that is, other explained about India's population is rising. Of course, India's population is going to see decline also. It is well noted in the economic survey also. By 2040, India will see decrease in the demographic dividend, that is working age population. Other quoted UN report, that is by 2063, India will see declining in population. So declining in population need to tackle some issues, because population majority point of view we will discuss only about reduction in fertility rate, but this fertility rate is not uniform in India. For example, states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu and some parts of Andhra Pradesh witnessing low fertility rate. Even according to National Family Health Survey, there is a vast difference among the states, within the states, between the cities and villages. For example, here the urban fertility rate in India is 1.6, which is more or less close to UK. So these declining trends need to be countered by several changes in the policy making. We should have a allowance to the migration, because migration seems to be anti-economy. However, 2021 Nobel Economic Prize David Cord mentioned that there was a huge benefits to economy because of migrant workers. It was mentioned in a research that in Goa, odd jobs like cleaning and other odd jobs can be done by the non-locals, which are benefited by the tourism industry in Goa. So migration policies can be seen as an important tool in tackling the challenges of declining population. Apart from that, other highlighted three important problems to Indian population growth. One is so-called difference in sex ratio, meta-sun phenomena, north-south division, and last but not least, very important, that is people's more awareness about fertility rates and their fertility rate and their income issues. Finally, author also suggested that in global politics also we should talk about depopulation, and there India should talk about sharing the migration, that is migration policies. There should be better migration policies and access to subsidized child care, and one should also talk about women should get respect in the household jobs. At the same time, men should share the household jobs. Other points can be remembered for a section called as population studies in GS1 topic. Next, China grant free fuel to Sri Lanka's fishermen. Did not attend Indian Ocean meet held by China, says by Australia and Maldives. Yesterday, we discussed about China launched China Indian Ocean Regional Forum, and they aims to create China International Development Cooperation also. So in which they tries to give assistance to the other countries. However, countries saying no for it. For example, Australia, Maldives are skipping the meeting. Other article talks about China giving free fuel to the Sri Lankan fishermen as a aid and help to the Chinese Sri Lankan fishermen. Both articles can be remembered for the IR point of view, not very much important in question framing. We can remember that articles like anti-China issues. Next, what is bluebugging? The simple thing is, bluebug is a wireless devices like your Bluetooth and earplugs So they can be hacked to listen the conversations. The name is important, Blue Bug. It is not any virus. It is just talking about a hacking technique which can steal our messages, which can see our messages, which can read our messages, and also which can listen our conversations. That's all for today. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.